How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. Now, something crazy happened in RLCS qualifiers last weekend that we have to talk about. It's got massive implications for the current season and just RLCS as a whole. And that is that Karmine Corp have failed to qualify. Now, this season, every team, no matter how many points you've got, no matter how many times you finish first, it doesn't matter. You have to qualify every single event from round one. There are 3 qualifiers in the first split. Now 3 qualifiers in this split. This is qualifier 5 of the season, the second one of the split. And Karmine Corp, as you can see up here, they lost 3-1 to SA. That's Mike Boy, Tekos, and Rizix. And then in the lower bracket, they lost 3-2 to Top Cougars. That's Acro, Relating Wave, and Simas. And both of these are massive upsets, of course. But Karmine Corp are not going to be in the main event. And to make matters worse, they are not likely to make the major anymore. So it's not just one, failure to qualify. That combined with the fact that they finished in the quarterfinal, they got eliminated in the quarterfinal in the most recent event. That in combination. Let me just crop this a little bit differently so you guys can see the point standings for the major really quickly. Yeah, that in combination with the quarterfinal finish puts them at 9th place on 9 points, and they cannot earn any more points. All these teams are in the event, they can earn even more. So yeah, if for Karmine Corp to make the major, they're going to need to win the last event, and they're going to need to hope that teams like BDS, Resolve, Oxygen do badly. They need all these teams to not make semifinals or better. So a lot needs to go Karmine Corp's way for them to make the major. Luckily though, for the for World Championship, they're looking good. They're still looking very good. They're miles ahead of 5th place Oxygen and everybody else. It's likely that Oxygen would need to at least place evenly, or they'd have to place extremely highly in the last 2 regionals and probably make top 2 or something in London if Karmine Corp are going to miss Worlds. But not even that is safe anymore. It's one bad weekend there has kind of ruined the entire split for KC. We'll talk more about what that means bigger picture in a second. But first of all, let's take a look at some of the reactions by the players. So this is Vatira's response to this whole situation on Twitter. Now I am using the auto translation here, so if it's slightly wrong or completely wrong, I do apologize. He says, "I don't have the words. I swear we've worked so hard lately. Apologies obviously won't be enough, and you might insult me or something, but we gave everything, I swear." Rise, in response to the situation, says, "Nowhere near good enough. Sick of making these tweets now. It won't happen again." Atto says, "Words won't be enough. I know, but I don't know what to tell you. The grind is there. The motivation is there. Everything is there, but we can't do it. The season isn't over, but I think we're all disappointed with what happened today. Sorry again." And the coach Farah has tweeted, "The most difficult day for our team. Unfortunately, it could cost us everything. There are no excuses. The direction taken after the major is not the right one, combined with a cruel lack of confidence since the last regional, which in this game could prove fatal. We've tried a lot of things, obviously not the right ones. These were my responsibilities. I failed. I will accept the consequences. The season is not over. It gets very complicated. We will think about what comes next, redouble, retrench our efforts if possible, and find better solutions, become better. Because we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to you to not give up until the end. Send all possible support to the players. This is the first affected and the most difficult time of their career, and now is when they need it the most. Redirect your messages and frustrations to me if necessary." So, very professional responses from all of the KC players, and Farah, the coach. They're not trying to put the blame on anyone except themselves, which I think it's part of this. It is their fault, ultimately, that they've lost this. Now, I'm making this video because, number one, this is massive news, but number two, because I do want to, again, draw the conclusion that I think the format is not very good. The qualifier format, I've said this many times throughout the season, and I do want to talk about that. But first, before I do that, I want to agree with the KC players and Farah and their reactions to this and say KC are to blame. Now, it is possible for the format to be bad and for KC to also still be to blame for all this. So you need to understand both things can be true. SA beating KC is not acceptable for Karmine Corp, and then Top Cougars beating them is not acceptable for Karmine Corp either. These are not acceptable results. And they are to blame. Everybody has to play this format, and in that sense, it is fair. All the teams are in this situation, so from that perspective, it is their fault. Now, with that being said, Double elimination, as I've said many times this season. I said this over 2 months ago when Shopify Rebellion failed to make the second regional of the season after coming top 4 in the first one. I said this is going to happen again. The format is not consistent. Double elimination is not a good qualifier format for matches that are this important. And you're more likely to see upsets in cases like this than you are in, say, the main event, where there's less pressure. Swiss format, more chances for teams to show what they're really what their level truly is. But I do want to also say well played to Sa and to Top Cougars. I watched the series and they both played very well. They played aggressively, they played fearlessly, they played like they had nothing to lose, and they deserved the wins in both of these series. They were not, they didn't get lucky. They deserved the wins. KC didn't play well enough and their opponents stepped up. And these are dangerous teams. There's a lot of very dangerous teams in the European qualifiers. Top Cougars could easily make top 8 in Europe. They would, have a chance, I think, of making top 4 if they were North American. I'm not saying that to turn this into EUNA. I genuinely I want to give you guys a rough idea of the level of these teams. I think, this is a kind of team that could make a top 4 run in NA, top 8 in EU. That's a scary team to go up against in a double elimination qualifier format. Now, before we get into, we're going to watch the last game of this series so you guys can see for yourself exactly what happened. But before we do that, I want to, again, highlight what I think the solution is to all this. Now, it seems that Epic are not interested in having automatic qualification in RLCS. That's what we did last season. That's what we did the season before, and I believe the season before that as well. If you were top 8 in points, you automatically requalified. You did not have to play the qualifier at all. But if that is not something that Epic are interested in, if that's not something Blaster are interested in, then I think the easy solution here is for the top 32 stage of the qualifier to be Swiss. And I don't mean 32 team massive Swiss bracket. I mean just 2 16 team Swiss brackets, because that would allow us to really know who the top 16 teams are. This is a massive stage of the competition, and you could argue it's more important than the next stage, because if you look at how the points are distributed in these events, if we look at the points breakdown for the qualifier, let me just really quickly change the crop on this. You can see that making the main event, you get 3 points more than not making the main event. So that 1 round difference is 3 points. Now winning in Swiss, you get 1 point, and then making top 8, you get another 2. So yeah, you're gaining more points every round, but that 1 round is a big jump. It's a massive round, and for that to just be double elimination, which is one of the most cutthroat formats, I mean, it's second only to single elim in terms of how cutthroat and volatile it is. It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like this 32 to going down to 16 stage should be 2 Swiss brackets, and the top 8 from each go into the main event, which again starts with Swiss, which is very good for finding out who the top 8 teams are. Now that's my easiest possible solution to this. I think it would be more fair. The main argument for that is always the same. It's always, you just have to beat who's in front of you. But I don't really think that is a valid argument, because if you're going to say that, if you're going to say the format's not to blame, the format's fine, you have to beat who's in front of you, Karmine Corp didn't, therefore they don't deserve to be in the main event. Well, I would argue in that case, should we just make it all best of 1 single elim? Would that be fine? Should we just make the entire season best of 1 single elimination? Because in the words of people saying the format doesn't matter, you got to win. Well, in that case, what are we doing with all these Swiss formats, double elimination? Let's just put players in a must-win situation from the get-go. Because if that's what it's all about, just winning, then why are we allowing any losses at all? Obviously, we want to find out some element of consistency here. There needs to be consistency. There needs to be a reward for consistency. Otherwise, there's too much risk. And it's not just risk for the players. It's not just risk for the teams who are trying to qualify. It's risk for orgs as well. Orgs like Karmine Corp, who are investing a ton in the scene. They're going to be less incentive for orgs like KC and other big orgs in esports to be involved in Rocket League if there is no consistency at all. If we just turned RLCS into one massive single elimination best of 1 format, no orgs would want to get involved because there's too much volatility. Where is the guarantee that your investment is going to be worth anything? So I think there needs to be a more robust qualifier format from that last day, basically the last day of qualifiers. These qualifiers are across 3 days, so the first 2 days of the qualifier you could leave as double elimination. I'm fine with that. If Epic insists on making all the teams play, fair enough, but at least this last stage has to be Swiss next season, because this has happened too many times. It's happened to Moist, Dignitas, Shopify, Karmine. I'm honestly surprised it hasn't happened more, but this is already unacceptable in my opinion. too much volatility for orgs, too much stress for pros, and it's not good. It's not entertaining to see that. We would still see these kind of series where SA have a chance to, beat KC in a qualifier. Top Cougars have a chance to beat KC in a Swiss qualifier. We would still have that. You could still have that happen in round 5 of Swiss, where at that point, fair enough. You have earned it. You've literally gone through Swiss. You haven't just, beaten one team on one day, and now you get to replace them in an event to spoil their split. But also, last thing I do before we watch this replay is I want to think about this from Top Cougars POV. Imagine they lose this. They would have every right to be annoyed as well, because they would have lost to KC in the lower bracket to qualify. And if they're coming through the lower bracket like this, they're probably thinking they're going to play SA. But if KC play really badly in this series, and that's their one bad series they play all season, then they get right back to KC mode in this one, then Top Cougars take the L. So it's not fair for them either. Somebody's going to be the loser in double limb at some point, and especially with how stacked European qualifiers are, I'm shocked this hasn't happened more often than it has this season. But yeah, I really do hope next season that they change this. I think it's probably too late to change it for qualifier 6. At this point, it might not matter anymore anyway, because we've already had 2 qualifiers with this format, and KC are already looking a bit out of the race. But yeah, the solution is there. Doesn't change anything with cost. I think it doesn't change much for the time frame. We're looking at this is if I pull this over a little bit more, it's a 4 series lower bracket, 4 best of 5s in a row. Swiss is 5 best of 5s. It's very similar time frame, no more money investment, but much better for players, teams, orgs, and fans who ultimately want to see the best teams play. So that's my argument for a different format being made. And with that being said, let's jump into the gameplay. Let's take a look at how it happened. Now, yeah, obviously that's no spoiler at the bottom there that KC are going to be losing this game. This is game 5. Vatira Rise and Atto against Simas, the Lithuanian player who has joined up with Top Cougars for this split. He's playing with Acro and Relating Wave. Now, the way that Top Cougars played this series, I was very impressed. They played it aggressively. They didn't play as if they were afraid of Karmine Corp. They just went for every single ball. They challenged early. They attacked relentlessly when they had the opportunity to do so. And they didn't actually take all their chances, as you'll see at the end of this one. But they were clinical at the very finish, and that really, was actually a very big deal for one player. I won't spoil who, but we'll see at the end of this game. But yeah, as for Karmine Corp, they didn't have a good series overall. I think Atto looked a bit nervous in defense at times. Rise was, miss-hitting his shots in offense. Vatira actually did have some pretty big plays to get wins in the games they did win. But overall, as a team, they lacked cohesion. They lacked the usual, dominance that they are able to produce. And Top Cougars were able to capitalize. But yeah, as we watch this gameplay, remember, guys, that you are allowed to be entertained by this. I thought this was entertaining content. When I watched this live, I will not deny, and I'm not afraid to say that this was super entertaining. And from the start of the season, I've said that these qualifiers will be very interesting to watch because of how cutthroat they are. There's no denying it. But we have to find a balance between competitive integrity, fairness, and entertainment. We can find a balance that fits all of that. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And this, maybe, I think this format leans a bit too much towards the cutthroat entertainment angle and not enough towards rewarding consistency. That's a great catch in the backboard by Vatira there, by the way. That's really well done in defense. I think he did play quite well in this qualifier, from what I could see. Yeah, you guys let me know what you think. I know KC fans are very polarizing in the Rocket League community. They love to gloat when they win. They love to, be very aggressively anti every other team on social media and also in person. And I know that gets everybody riled up against them, which is, honestly, it makes for great entertainment value, I would say, between fan bases. But remember that while they gloat while they're up, and it's fun to laugh at their demise, I'm sure for some of you, the players are still players, and they're still humans. So we have to keep it, I think, fair. They've taken their L. I think they've taken it on the chin. Fair enough. Now let's see what happens next. Here we are, 0-0 in a tense game 5. Now imagine in this setting, you are the team who are expected to win here. You're Karmine Corp, You are the team who perfect swept the entire split. Before this, you won 3 events out of 3. Now you've gone eliminated in the quarterfinals in the last one, after going 3-0 in Swiss, by the way. So suddenly, your last match in the main event was a loss. First time you're eliminated all season from a main event. And now you're in a qualifier and you're up against some very solid players. And it's not easy. This team is bringing it to you. I mean, the pressure is just immense. I feel like this is probably the most nervous KC were all season. Maybe even more nervous than they were in Game 7 against Falcons. There wasn't overtime at the LAN, but yeah, a tense Game 7, one of the best series I've ever seen. These qualifiers are where the stress really is, though, because the expectation from the fans, from themselves, from the org, from everyone in the community, it's on them to win. They're supposed to win, and they're not winning. So that starts to get to you, and I'm sure in some way you can all relate to that pressure of expectation. Meanwhile, you've got top Cougars who have no pressure on them. They're against Karmine Corp. They're the underdogs. No one expects them to do anything. So there's no pressure of expectation at all. They're able to play a lot more freely and reach their level, I think, more consistently. Now, if Acro hit that would have absolutely, it would have flown towards the net, but he doesn't get it. Relating Wave misses a drop down, and it is a great pass to Atto to put KC up 1-0. So it looks like maybe they're going to get it done. When I was watching this live, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get there. They're across the finish line. And now here come Top Cougars, fake kickoff, composed under pressure, this young team. And they're all over them. Rise able to deflect the ball back corner. Relating Wave not able to get it back in the mix, but the demo lands. Acro 50s it low. They are just not going away here. KC are they're hanging on to this 1-goal lead. But it's not looking too easy. That's a great cut. Nice 50 back by Rise, and Atto follows up. But look at the challenges by Top Cougars. And the bump. I mean, the commitment to the play by these guys, fair enough. Third man sends in the challenge. Bump lands. Shot comes through. I mean, this is the kind of aggression that I'm talking about. That's how you have to play these top teams, by the way. If any other teams in the world are watching, wondering, how do you have a chance? What is the best play style to have against a team like this? It's aggression. Acro misses an open net there as the ball spills out into the middle, but it's Relating Wave with the follow-up. 10 seconds ago, they take the lead. So Acro misses an open net. I mean, they're obviously getting very nervous at the finish line as well, thinking, wait, we can actually do this. And they do take the lead late, though, off Relating Wave's follow-through. Still, Vatira, demo on the center ball, bump, but Rise can't make contact. And that's game over. Now we have to watch this again from Rise POV to see exactly what happened here. Because Vatira did about everything he could here. 50, demo, bump, and Rise just got landed on by the last player. I mean, this is just crazy. Vatira bumped the defender. I think we need to slow this down. But the dodge from Relating Wave sent him towards Rise. So, I mean, if Relating Wave bumps or gets bumped out of the way here, this is just an open net for Rise. But he got a bump on Rise. And then Simas stays goal side. 50s it away, and Top Cougars win the game. I mean, crazy, absolutely crazy stuff. And again, I want to say what I said earlier. That was an entertaining series to watch. Unbelievable tension, so much on the line. But you know, should it be on the line is the question. I'm not denying it was entertaining. I'm not denying that, you know, for many people watching, I'm sure they love to see Karmine Corp fail. I'm sure there are many people who love to see Karmine Corp fail. I'm not one of them. I would love to see them at the major. I think they deserve it, but based on their seasonal performance. At least, well, maybe not major, but they deserve to be in the main event, based on their seasonal performance, in my opinion. Well, at least they deserve an attempt to qualify through a format that isn't double limb. I'm kind of like, you know, I'm taking. I would be much more for giving auto-qual spots. But if we're not going to do that, hey, I'm happy with a better qualifier format being used. That's my take. I think the qualifier format needs reworked. But I'm okay with the idea of every team having to qualify. If that is just non-negotiable, fair enough. We can still make that work. But what are your guys' thoughts? Is this a format problem? Is it KC's fault? Is it entertaining? Or is it all of the above? Because I think they can all be true. And yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we might see some even more drama. They're not out of it yet, and the world's spot does still look pretty good for them. But I mean, that's the video, guys. Yeah, I feel like I've been pretty, because I watched back my Shopify video when Shopify had this, and yeah, I said pretty much the same things, except now we're at the end of the season, or getting towards the end of the season, looking back. Then we were at the start of the season, looking forward, and yeah, unfortunately, it did actually happen. Said back then it's probably going to happen more. It did. One of the situations I'm actually not happy to be right about, to be honest, because yeah, I would love to see the KC Ultras in London. I'd love to see KC in London. I'd love to see them play in the main event and see if they can qualify, at least. Like, if they aren't going to make it, losing in the main event to a team who end up going would be, I think, better. But hey, That's pretty much it. It's definitely a frustrating situation for KC. I understand. Yeah, I sympathize with them, and I hope hope the org continue to support and continue the fans continue to support the players. Like Farah said, in the toughest time in their careers. Good luck to them with the rest of the split. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Leave your takes in the comments. Do try and keep it civil if you can. And I'll see you guys soon with some more show matches, some more videos. Going to probably be talking more about RLCS last weekend and other videos because a lot went down. But I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again for tuning in and take care.